Hello, and thank you so much, Your Excellency, for being here, because you bring us to Sweden with comedy, a musical comedy, but we kept our mask, okay, but you could discover her for our festival in Rushnov, because on that time we could record it with no mask. So look for it, because we have a very interesting discussion about a perfect film, Uwe. So, and on my mask, you could discover the Romanian prize for the Romanian films. It's called the Gopo Small Man. It has theoretically no name. He got the name of Gopo, who was a famous Romanian film director, the equivalent of Disney, even if it has a different style of cartoon and of films also, but again, very tender for family and so on. And I was curious a little bit about what's happening in Sweden. You have something like that? You have a prize, a special prize for films? For Swedish film.
Yes, we do, but first of all, thank you for having me here again and allowing me to talk about Swedish film, more Swedish film, different types of Swedish films than you and I have talked about before. So again, a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to meet Gopo.
Gopo's yeah.
First time I meet him, yeah. And I'm sure I will see more of that during my stay here in Romania. So for the Swedish Film Awards, it's called Guldbaggen, which is the golden scarab. Not a Swedish animal, we have to say. Then,
but, don't be afraid. So,
but an impressive one, I suppose. And like I said, it's a pleasure really to bring Swedish film to a very knowledgeable
and to find so many things about Sweden.
Yes,
which is so important, because usually we are thinking just about Bergman, about Ingmar Bergman and his films, or Ingrid Bergman as the most beautiful actress ever. So really, I think it's a good moment to discuss a little bit about our film.
Here we are with a musical. I was also surprised a little bit to learn about this film, because musicals is a bit of an unusual genre, also in Sweden. But in fact, it's much more than that. The musical is just the format, based very much on the, for every Swedish person, famous songs of a songwriter, artist called Thomas Ledin, and his both the songs and the lyrics is really driving this whole film forward. And
we got the original, not the English one. We got
absolutely.
The original. I was quite glad
yes,
of that. Yes,
and I hope also the Swedish language will make for a richer experience of this film. In addition to the beautiful landscapes, most of it is filmed. It's filmed in Sweden, of course, I have to emphasize that, but also mostly in the summertime, which is the best time to visit my country. And you will find some beautiful scenery, which to me is this is what you get. You know, anyone can get this as you visit my country.
And I think you'll feel a little bit of nostalgia also.
Of course,
yes.
Of course, because I mean the film is also you know partly nostalgia, going back in time to teenage years and thinking about family ties, etc.
How to meet again after the years, after a certain career and so on. The job is on the first position, or the family, yes.
Exactly, and then also moving on from that, how you decided to create your life, and how, of course, your family and old acquaintances stay with you, and how it is important to give people a second chance and actually discover that there is more to every person than what we first see, perhaps. So,
and how maybe people change during the years, and how you told me something about the guy who wrote the music. We could see him in the film.
Yes, in fact, I mean, having grown up.
It's not spoiling.
With having grown up with this music, his face is quite known to most Swedish people, I say. So he he actually plays a very small part, and towards the end at least I could see him. He's the gardener. He wears a bit of a cap on his head, and he turns around in one of the scenes towards the end, and that's him for sure. So
a close up at the beginning, at the end.
You will see, I'm sure you will see him now that I divulged it to you.
Now I'm impatient to see it again, because I didn't know it was him. So it's important. A little bit about the film director. So I discovered that he also working in theater and television, and we can see that in the way he's building. He's constructing the whole structure in there. And I was curious to know if you also have musicals in town, not films, but also theater, like in here.
There are some theaters that specialize in this, and I think probably some of the dancers and participants in this movie, that's also what they do.
So they were happy to have the opportunity, because it's a quite recent film, and if it worked, maybe they'll try again.
Yes, and I'd say a number of the actors in this film are quite established in the on the Swedish scene. Some also, I think, internationally, as some of these other types of series and criminal series are also very internationally famous now. But some of them are comedy actors, and they had their first career moves, I guess, on stage, and with stand-up comedy and or comedy series. So
you do have that too.
Yes.
Because in our mind we are thinking that you are maybe more serious than a stand-up comedy. I don't know why. That's why you have to meet and to know a little bit more through a TV screen what's happening. Yes.
I'm glad to challenge that image in that case, because really this should show that there is also Swedish people have a lot of humor, and in the end I think what the fun parts but also the serious parts in this movie is something that relates to each and every individual, each and every family. So I think it will speak to an audience also here in Romania.
We could recognize more or less the father in there. Maybe we'll meet around us or something like that. The relationship between father and daughter, the mother disappearing but being still present, the job connection, and also the possibility of losing the job, and then we know exactly what's happening, but we are not going to tell what is happening in there, because it's very funny, that part, when it's more or less like what we are living now, that everybody is saying, oh, okay, I'm staying home all the time and so on, and when everything will go back to what it was, more or less, you'll say, oh, but it was quite good at home, because the traffic and so on, you see, it's just like
very
that.
True.
Exactly how it was when I was in school, and from time to time I was eating a little bit of chalk in order to have a little bit of fever, and to stay at home to watch TV in the morning for the replay. And I said, oh, I would like so much, no more school and so on. And now everybody would like to go to school. You see, we are always like that. So I think the end in there, it's not only funny, but we had to learn a lot out of that. And I think, many things about Sweden, and about this song, and about the fact that it was written beforehand. It was famous, as you said. And by the way, the director, he also dealt with the Eurovision festival one, so he had seen everything from inside, and we know quite well that ABBA started like that. You don't have to believe that it's like a sort of Mamma Mia. It's something different, but very, very entertaining. I think that was invented for this film, for sure. And as you are saying, Your Excellency, it's summer, we'll feel like in New Zealand if we can't travel now. It's thanks to a Swedish film, which is not
yes, I hope so. I hope we can escape and remember summer and look forward to summer when we watch this film. So
I have a solar hat here, as So feel free to be happy.